We are now live streaming. This is Willem and James's Creative Sessions, where we get creative and have a session over caffeine.
I'm not having caffeine.
You're not?
No, I'm having a rooibos tea without caffeine this morning.
Wow.
Just change.
Oh, okay.
I didn't feel like having caffeine.
So, Willem, you've been reading No Logo, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's so good.
I was just about
It's
to
so
say.
good.
I was just about to say. So my computer and WhatsApp is slowed right now. It took a while to send the link to go live.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not as long as my brother, who is in Sri Lanka. I was talking to him yesterday. He had been in the queue to have gas for 72 hours. 3 days.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so we talked, and then the gas was delivered to the station. Sri Lanka is
Big
not in a good
problems.
shape right now.
Yeah.
As you can see, it's the canary in the coal mine of a lot of global issues that are going to be happening. Now, they're not going to be all the same, but of course, the ones that are going to be the worst off are the poorest nations and the poorest people. And he got to the station, and he got to his turn to fill up with gas, and they ran out.
No.
They'd run out.
Oh, God. Wow, that's ridiculous.
So he left his car there, and he said, "Call me when you get gas." He had his bike in the car, swapped places with his wife. They left it overnight one night. The kids bought rambutans, which are little fruits. They look like lychees. They bought a bunch of them and handed them over. Community and discussions and chats happened with all the other people waiting in line. There's a whole world and ecosystem and community that got built there and is being built there over. That was the longest, because it's, the past several weeks, they usually had to wait 6 to 8 hours to get gas. And at this time it's 3 days. And for the experience, he just stuck to it. I mean by that, a lot of other, people he knew who were foreigners, obviously with a lot more money than the locals, were paying people to queue for them. And he said, no, I don't know, it's going to be a life experience, and something for the kids and for us, and for just to experience what it is that's actually going on for people here.
Yeah, and the other thing that stuck me with what you said is the canary in the coal mine.
Yeah, I've been thinking that for the last several months, as my brother Bjorn has been telling me about it. And then there's a few other things that we're living here, but obviously they're tiny. But the price of duck has skyrocketed. The fact that we don't really have a lot of neutral oil like sunflower oil. I don't know about you guys, but it's like wherever it's available, it's doubled in price. There's no more mustard.
Sorry.
Yeah, no more mustard in France on the shelves. Main reason being, as far as I understand, is that the mustard seeds. So obviously France consumes a lot of mustard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or unless if it was not obvious, then I'm telling you. But we don't produce enough mustard seeds and mustard for our own consumption or whatever other global price reasons. But most of the mustard is grown out of Canada and imported into here in France. And but because of dry spells, the mustard crops were nowhere near as good as usual. Just like the chili shortages for sriracha at the moment. So the sriracha factory in California, the one that's in California, is run out. So there's also no more, like they're running out of sriracha at the moment.
So isn't it there's a whole bunch.
By the way, that's going to be for you too.
Yeah, well, it's because everything is so interdependent and connected. A tiny
but also connected in ridiculously global fashion.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And not only, but yes, in part. So, for example, the duck thing. And so this is my little brother who has a restaurant in the south of France. The duck is also nearly doubled in price for him to buy duck from his supplier. And the supplier left a phone message that he forwarded to us because it was so crazy. So I'm just paraphrasing this, but
Sure.
I think I texted it to you, didn't I? Anyway,
You told me that
maybe.
I knew about the price of duck doubling, but I don't remember the other message.
No. The other things are that, all right, so most of the ducks in France are purchased out of other cheaper European countries like Hungary or like that, let's say. But the European Union agriculture rules, I think that's what I understood from the message, makes it that France has a hold on all the ducklings. So all the ducklings are actually, everybody has to buy the ducklings from France. And so the ducklings are made here, and then they're sent over to other countries, grown, and then France buys them again, and they travel back. But apparently there's some kind of monopoly, except that because of the avian flu, a lot of flocks of chicken and ducks all over Europe have been killed.
Yeah.
If there was, and we're talking about millions of birds who are killed, and a lot of the ducklings.
Yeah.
So because there were no more ducklings the last few months, there's also no more ducks.
Time lag.
Yeah. And so now there's no more ducks, and they didn't have enough ducklings. And so anyway, that's the main reason that the supplier was saying we don't have any ducks. So we can't. So that's why the price has gone up, and we can't control, and we don't know when we're going to get ducklings again, because our duckling provider doesn't have any ducklings. Obviously, his supplier grows their ducks locally, because that's what my brother buys. But she was still commenting on the whole industry.
Humanity is so interesting.
I watched an episode of the new Love, Death, and Robots series, anthology animation series, and
I keep hearing about this, and
I watch that. You should so watch that.
I know.
Some of those episodes are really they're all beautifully crafted, and a lot of them are really good. And the third season just came out. I haven't watched it yet. I just watched one episode. But there's one episode, so they're single episodes, except that for this season, there were so they made a sequel, if you will.
Okay.
Of one set of characters that apparently, I guess, were successful and were pretty funny. And then so every one of them is very, very different from one another, except that this particular one has a sequel now. I don't know if they made any others. Sort of a sequel, as in it's the same characters, and those characters, the three robots, that are just kind of like half tourism, half archaeology, exploring the remains of humans and trying to work out what happened to these guys. Or talking about it. They're just casually chatting and visiting. And it's really good.
Concept.
It's very cool.
Great concept.
It's very, very cool. It's very funny. And so yeah, actually, so the second episode is really, it's a lot more overt about what happened in the end, and how come they were like, why didn't they just work together? They're really stupid. They deserve to die.
Oh dear. Yeah, I've been told that's been recommended to me by a lot of people.
Yeah, it's good. You'll enjoy
it. I know.
There's a lot of conversations to be had on which ones are their favorite episodes, etc. There's a lot of really, and not everything's really good. Some of them are like just beautifully like awesome animation, but you're like, man, that was all right, whatever.
Okay.
But they're all short, and then they're between 5 and 20 minutes.
That's the thing I could watch on my phone when I'm just waiting for something. I should watch
the quality of the animation for most of them makes it worth watching on a larger screen, I think. But yes, you can watch it on your phone. And yes, I am reading your logo. It's very good.
Yes. I read it about 20 years ago.
You did? Oh, well, when it came out then.
Yeah. I read it when it came out. And I just remember consuming it very fast, going, I feel like my brain is melting from the frightening things that are in this.
I think it's probably, I don't know, it's a lot of people, it's been on my reading list for many, many years, right? And it's been on my shelf literally for 4 or 5 years. And this is the 10th anniversary edition, and everything. So there's a preface and a whole added chapter, sort of, not chapter, but quite a few pages for 2012, because it came out in 2002. So it was literally published 20 years ago. And it's, I mean, and I'm reading it faster than I thought I would. I'm still not halfway through, but I thought it was going to be dense and depressing, but it's actually really enjoyable at the same time, and I'm liking it. And it's scary how she's talking about the 90s. One, in retrospect, is great because it's a lot of the stuff that we lived through. It's the same generation
Yeah, it is.
experienced. And then there's a lot of everything she's talking about is the same, but more right now.
Yeah.
You know, aside from like, you can replace a few things that are no longer there, but it's only a matter of the brand itself. You can replace Blockbuster with Amazon, but everything she's describing about the way that the shops or the way that the brands and the businesses are taking over and competing. The whole chapter on identity politics was amazing to read, particularly in light of what's going on with politically correct now. And you're like, wow, that's not changed.
Yeah,
And
taking over our headspace. There's no room to think. I probably should reread it.
I'm thinking about my students who are now several generations into having grown entirely within this world, and even more so than she's describing now. And I also appreciate that she's a little balanced, like critical, but also balanced in saying, well, there's also people that are saying, if there's a quote in one of the chapters about imagining, you know, commercialization of everything and of culture in particular. And she's like, but that's okay. To imagine that there was a time where culture was pure and untouched by commercialism is also a fantasy.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that there can't be any commerce inside of our culture and art, because that's always been the case. And just even like very simple examples, remember that kings and powerful and rich people were always the one to fund the arts they wanted, the church, religions. So it's not like there was always the codependency between those worlds and relationships. But what she is saying is that ideally there should be some push and pull, some struggle, some equality of some kind, and it's not really the case. It's completely dominated, and even more so today, 20 years later, than it was there. I was talking to a friend who read The Chalk Doctrine.
I read that too. Yeah.
Have you read it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to be worth reading at some point. It's going to be pretty shocking, I imagine. But
that was I think it deepened my love of economics. Yeah. And it got me thinking much more globally. No Logo like really made me think about the commercialization and headspace being destroyed by business. But then Shock Doctrine, I think, made me a bit more interested in how much self-interest and greed drives things. How far would people go because of greed?
Yeah.
And then I think I read after Shock Doctrine, it wasn't long after that. I can't remember. It might have been something like Nudge or Free Economics or something. It was I read them very close together. But the No Logo also made me think a lot about the importance of satire, and that this idea that we talk about, the jester and the fool, and the telling the truth and play and mixing things together, and that idea of culture jamming, like, and now listening to you, it reminded me of like, now we have memes. Memes are like that satirical culture jamming, culture poking fun of itself till it becomes itself. You just can't. It all blurs. You can't tell what is recent, what is now. Nothing. Everything is now, and it's all, there's no history, and I don't know what the hell it is. So at school on Friday, it was a non-uniform day, and there are pupils who are like 12 or 13 in Nirvana t-shirts, and they love Nirvana. They really appreciate Nirvana. I was like, oh, okay, that's mad. And there are others who are like, yeah, Nirvana, never heard of them. It's this full range of experience of there's no time anymore. It's all just one big massive stuff.
Yeah.
And I do remember a few years ago walking through a shopping center, and somebody young had on a Ramones t-shirt, and I was like, they don't know who the Ramones are, really, do they? Let me go see. He says, oh, you really like the Ramones? What's your favorite track? They were like, I don't know, I just like the t-shirt. So yeah, it's a frightening book, and
It's
the
a frightening
Doctor in
book, and
20.
right now we're in a frightening world. I spent a lot of the week watching. I mean, I was working and busy with work, and I'm behind on most of the things I said I was going to say I was going to do. Partly not my fault. There's a bunch of stuff I thought I was going to grade, and one, it took me a lot longer to report the grades, to fill forms and stuff. I thought it was going to be done in an hour. It took me several hours in the end. And then the ones that were the new ones I have to grade, I thought I would have them on Monday, and I had them on Thursday in the end. But I also wouldn't have had time to start them. I wanted to do 6 of those, and they're pretty long reads, and I had to have them done by the 11th of July. But anyway, I was following French politics because we had the legislative elections, and of course Friday following a little bit, or Saturday rather, the Roe v. Wade overturning, which is a big deal.
I had a whole bunch of pupils come up to me and go, "Did you know what happened?" I was like, "No." Yeah, Wade versus Roe overturned.
Yeah, I went to a really good evening on Thursday. Fortunately, that was a lot on the positive side of things. And I was thinking, actually, you guys should come to Paris sometime. So I last Saturday I was at a writing group, and I did a writing workshop with a group called the Paris Lit Up, which is a kind of artistic and literary group and writing group. And they have open mic nights on Thursdays. And my another friend, Australian James, was the featured speaker. So they have, everybody can sign up and speak, like usually 3 to 5 minute slots or whatever, up to 5 minutes. And then there's one or set up in advance featured speaker who's going to do a 20-minute slot, like 10 minutes around, like before and after the break. And there's a host, and he's I know a few of them. I did know that guy before, Matt. He's great. He's very funny, and it was a great evening. There was a mix of poetry and poetry. Most of it is in English. There was a little bit, like one thing in French, one in Italian, one in Ukrainian.
Wow.
Of people that just like suddenly drop in. There's a bunch of young musicians that found the place by chance, and so sang songs. There were other songs. So it's a mix of, there's poetry, spoken texts. One that I thought would be really interesting to you. This woman read a couple of excerpts from a long essay that she's going to get it published in a magazine or something, about her experience of hustling through IVF. And she was blending in a lot of scientific information, her own kind of vulnerable experience with her husband or partner, and going in and mixing it for movie references from hustling movies and hustler movies. So she put the whole spin on it. That was really, it worked. It was really cool. And so it was just a couple of excerpts from quite a long essay. I asked her if it could be read anywhere, because I thought you might be interested. I was interested.
I would be.
I think you would be as well. So I'll probably see her around again. She just recently moved from New York and is still going back and forth. And James read a bunch of really funny texts from a book he's working on. He's working on a book called How to Kill Your Colleagues. It's kind of meant to be the evil twin of Chicken Soup for the Soul. They're very funny texts about I'll send you a video of him reading. It was great. It was really a lot of fun. There were a lot of very funny stuff. So a few quite heartfelt and artistic stories, but I couldn't believe that I had not been there before. So I'm gonna go.
I'd love stuff like that, because that sounds really cool. I was on the tube yesterday, and I saw an advert for a book by David Graeber and somebody else.
Okay.
And of course, I haven't got far into bullshit jobs yet, but you started it.
Cool.
I started it. It was David somebody and David somebody, and it was a book about. I think it might have been a work thing, or a post-work thing, or the future of work, or something.
There is one about the future of work, the bureaucracy and technology, or something like that.
Yeah, it had a red and yellow. It was red, it was so fast, but I saw the name and I was like, oh. So I love it when things like that happen. I never heard of him until you said about bullshit jobs, and then suddenly I see that.
I'd heard of him from my little brother, but I hadn't heard about. I didn't know about him before, unfortunately. But anyway, and then on Friday, so I had a very full week. On Friday, I went to see there's a Steve McCurry exhibit in Paris at the moment. It's running for another month. Have you heard of Steve McCurry?
No.
You know, you know, some of his most, he's a photographer, quite famous, and
Okay.
there's there's at least one or more of his shots that you know. The super famous one is the Afghan woman with the striking blue eyes and red.
Yep. I've seen it.
So that's him. And it was a gorgeous exhibit. It's like over 150 photos with audio of a lot of photos of him. So audio from him commenting and telling the stories behind the photos. And a bunch of, so it was from 1979 to 2019. And some of the photos had never been published, and it was rich. It was like we spent 2 hours there, and it was intense because it's, you know, it starts in 79 in Afghanistan, and you're like,
proper photo.
That country has been at war for my whole life. It was proper photojournalism, and so, and you know, there was everything from destroy. So he has a lot of photojournalism of war-torn areas. He spent a lot of time in Afghanistan, but he's been to a lot of other countries. And he also has a big interest in portraits. His portraits gorgeous, really beautiful, and in children and innocence. So he takes a lot of photos of kids when he can. He has the whole books, and I mean, really, really beautiful exhibition, like really gorgeous. If anybody's listening, is going to be in Paris for another month, or this thing is, I don't know when, if it's been to London or if it's going to London, but whenever it does, it's really, really gorgeous. It's also, we were floored. I mean, the friend I was with, she was pretty upset about Roe v. Wade. But there was a protest, and some of her friends were going to the protest afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, we can go if you want. She was like, that was just so intense. Let's just have a drink. I mean, that was it was harrowing. A lot of the photos, I mean, there were photos and the stories behind them were, you know, just like at one point towards the end of the exhibit, some of them were really like very moving, but very tough. And some of them you're like, well, I don't know what the story is behind this photo, but wow, I'm like, my heart's wrenching just watching it. One thing was, there were photos in that section towards the end, there were photos of 9/11. And so he lives in New York. He had just come back from a trip to China, September 10, 2001.
Yeah.
And he gets to his, you know, office the following morning, and somebody calls him, obviously, and says, well, you should look out your window. So he took photos of all of it. And so he's got the stories from his experience spending the day at the ground zero of the World Trade Center and taking photos, and his experience of it. And the photos were right next to other photos of a destroyed Afghanistan towns in 1992. And people rebuilding, and it was people rebuilding in the States and people rebuilding, but 20 years before. There were also photos from 2003, from the 1991 Gulf War, and it was rough, a lot of beautiful, rough stuff. And even that, it was sickening, the stories from this woman, the super famous photo, and they found her again, I mean, he and whoever he was traveling with, in 2002.
Yeah.
And while this was a worldwide icon, and he was telling the stories of how, like, he received thousands and thousands of inquiries from people who wanted to give this kid money.
Yeah.
Which is, it's like really thinking about both, and also what was sickening is like people saying that they wanted to marry her.
Yeah.
It was a child.
Yeah.
But that was one child among thousands or tens of thousands of refugees in camps.
Yeah.
It was not about that one person.
Yeah.
So, but it got me thinking, there were beautiful photos of a lot of people in, you know, far out places and traditional garbs. And I couldn't help but thinking that and some of the stories that he's taking photos of, it's almost like a zoo. There's a lot of these people that are, and in the context of reading No Logo and everything, the global culture of brands, and my students and young people thinking they're part of this global, I'm a global citizen, but that's your global citizen only inside of that world. There's all sorts of other people that are forgotten from it, as like the poor people who are not going to get gas. Or you know, there's photos from nomad peoples that are just almost extinct or stopped because they can't, you know, countries don't want those kinds of people living there anymore, and you can't do it anymore. So it's kind of like that's what I meant by the zoo, of like taking the last photos of the last people who are still wearing this kind of thing that are showing that there's still a local culture that is different from the global branded one. And also that the powerful thing of being able to show one portrait of somebody so that you get really the emotional pull.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's all abstraction.
Yeah.
If you just get there, there's 1,000 refugees, I don't, but then people are like, I want to give money to that person. You're like, no, give money to the organization that helps this, trying to help all of them.
Yeah.
But it's also, that's the way to try to get people to be interested in it and
it's
to feel
skill,
something
and
for
it's
it.
such
It's
a
super
skill
interesting.
and an art
Really,
to be
I don't
able
have
to
any
capture
answer
a
to
moment
this.
like
Just,
that. No, it's because I used to think a lot about factual writing and creative writing, and like if you want to communicate, is it best to do it creatively or factually or both, or how do you do it? And I don't know. Other there's something cool of it comes back to me for like this blur between autobiography and fiction. So exploring a story, there's something universal about stories, but to be able to tell a story, an entire story in one picture, one image, one photo, it is a skill and an art and a whole thing. The photojournalist thing that sticks with me is Kevin Carter with the picture of the vulture.
I'm sure some of mine actually. I don't remember the vulture.
So it's a picture of a kid in Ethiopia.
I don't know it, rather. Okay.
Do you know that picture? Okay. It's a very young child.
I'm sure I've seen it.
Yeah, very young child in Ethiopia, in the midst of one of the famines, and a vulture next to the child. It's this. And Kevin Carter, the Manic Street Preachers, wrote a song about him because he took that picture, and he won a prize for his photojournalism stuff, and he died by suicide. He chose to do that because of a lot of the stuff that he was seeing he couldn't handle, or the pictures he was taking, and the way it was used. That to tell a story in a photo, to see that moment, I'm like, wow, how do you do that?
Yeah.
It's just a great skill. Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
That was gorgeous. Obviously, the photo of a photo doesn't get great, but still, it's beautiful. I didn't take everything, but.
Oh wow, that one and the previous one are really interesting photos.
Yeah, they're really interesting photos
on a lot of levels.
Yeah, exactly. And this one, there was the audio. So, he's telling the story about wandering in Beirut in 1982 that it bombshelled, and sees these kids playing, and how, kids will start taking over anything that looks like interesting enough for them to play.
Yeah.
And then he just turned around and thought it would be interesting to take them against the light and realized in the foreground, there's all these shells.
Yeah.
And realizes how dangerous this place is, and it actually talks the kids into leaving after that. That was fantastic. I think it's a great photo. This one, that's the one that was like, there was no story behind this. You're like, what is going on there?
Where is that?
It's in Peru, Yanesha, Peru, 2004. Malaysia in 1992. Kuala Lumpur. That's in Madagascar in 2019.
Oh, wow. That was really cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Where's that?
California, Los Angeles.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah. When we went to Los Angeles, there's one image that stuck in my mind, which is, I don't know, we were walking somewhere to the hotel or something, and there was someone riding a bike, and they're riding a bike. They're just wearing shorts, and they're holding a surfboard and
Okay.
riding, just riding along
I
the
see.
surf. Like I'd never seen anything like that. I was like, okay, well that sums up this area really, because that just wouldn't happen anywhere where I've been.
That's funny.
Cool. Are we gonna?
Yeah, Joe, where are you at with your notes?
So, oh yeah, this is what I was gonna say. I don't know why I didn't do this before, but I create folders for everything, right? So I don't know why I didn't just, have a page. This is a GTD thing, right? Create a page, put a date on it, have a folder, have it all
Okay.
there. So I know exactly what's happening, wherever it's going. I don't know why I didn't do it before. Didn't make any sense not to. Not that I've looked over my notes since last time.
Well, do you want to look them over and have a think about what it is that you're doing?
We can talk it through, because I remember I'd come out of the place and a car bomb went off.
Yes, you're at the Alegria fancy rug joint casino in a ranch on the outskirts of Burbank after the Disney Studios further out. And you had a chat with Whitey Alexander, who's the manager of the casino. That he works for the system, which is the criminal kind of outfit in Los Angeles.
And him and Helen had a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just come out, and I was left with a choice, wasn't I? Stay or follow.
Yeah, because you spotted people in a car speeding off, and you can either try to catch up with them or stay and find out what's going on with this explosion. But maybe we can do I was thinking maybe just go through what you found out so far and a little bit of your clues and have a think about where you want to go next, as you wish.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Think about the whole situation. Otherwise, you're just bouncing from one spot to another.
No, yeah.
Which, that's technically within the game. That's the situation. You're gonna have to make a quick choice. But otherwise, we haven't. Last time you didn't have your notes, so you didn't have a chance to have to think about what it is you're doing and to think about the case. Really, that's what's going on.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. So what have I got here? So there's been a few times where this kind of someone's talking about an organization that might be communist, but they're not sure what it is, that is doing something. I'm sure that was something that's been mentioned by two different people, the film producer and the freelance reporter who's writing up a big story. He thinks there's something, but he's not sure. So there's definitely some organization that's doing something, but no one knows what it is. No one knows whether it's a communist-based thing or something else.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one thing that I'm interested in finding out about.
Okay.
What is it? Is it a cult thing? Is it a communist thing?
What makes you think it has something to do with Helen so far?
It's the disappearing and reappearing thing. Okay. That's the only thing that makes me think. And the fact she's catatonic and not saying anything.
Okay.
Was it? Sorry. And the catatonic not saying anything could either be my mind went to drugs, and that was one thing I thought of. And the other thing was seeing something so scary, weird out there that she's just been made just doesn't want to talk about it, traumatic, that kind of thing. And as far as I know, she hasn't said anything to anyone yet. And then the Whitey Alexander, and having two people who really want to find out what happened to her and want to help as well. Marshall Daly and Whitey Alexander both are like, just like, what happened? What's going on? So there's people who want to know what happened to her and what's happening, but nobody really seems to be doing anything about it, which I guess is why I've been hired. But it does make me wonder, why isn't anyone doing anything about it? Why didn't anyone like care?
Good point.
Or are they put off? Do they not want to look? And curiosity is one of the things that I'm into.
That's right. All right. What other threads do you have? Like, what other questions, threads, or bits of information do you have, or hypotheses about everything that's happening, or everything that you found out so far?
Well, the other thing is that there's got to be money in it somewhere. So Whitey Alexander is only interested in anything other than making money. Helen was there. But one of the people who is always at the place gambling is Mr. Guy Deacon, the main Deacon guy, right? He was one of the people. Margaret Deacon's dad.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes,
he's one of the people who's always there.
Wait a minute, I thought it was another name.
It was Margaret Deacon's. I don't know what the name of him is. He's always in there. Oh, it's not.
It's Roscoe. The father's called.
Oh,
which I don't know. It's entire.
Roscoe Deacon.
Not sure the name actually came up, but that's his name.
Yeah. Well, I know.
We did talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay, you do know. Okay.
Yeah. So Roscoe, because Roscoe's in there gambling, but owes Whitey money.
Yes.
Which then makes me think, okay, well, Margaret Deacon must know her dad is gambling, and must know there's money to be paid, but how's it going to get paid? And why aren't they paying? And surely he's got loads of money, or has he? How much money do they really have as a family if they've been into real estate for years? And then are they losing their money? Are they just like, which is all reminding me, of course, of The Big Sleep. So that's the other thing I'm thinking about. And is Whitey going to start getting pissed off and wanting to get money off people?
Yeah.
How much money? So that's the question. Like, how much money does Deacon family actually have, really? Oh, yeah. I'm thinking back to The Big Sleep. Is somebody blackmailing them there? Is someone blackmailing the Deacon family? And maybe is that why Helen? What's up with Helen? Is that some kind of blackmail deal going on or something? You're nodding like it's.
No, those are all good questions. They're all very good lines of thinking. That's the whole point of this game.
All right, so that's where I'm at. Those are the 4 things.
Okay, great.
What's this weird organization? No, actually, no. 3 things. What's this weird organization? People want to help Helen, which is great, but like, why and how? And how much money does the Deacon family really have?
Right.
And my computer just seems to fall over every time I try and go into Miro, so I'm relying on you screen sharing.
Okay, I'll screen share.
So if anyone watching wants to buy us both a computer, please feel free.
Yes, exactly. All right. So.
Oh, and I should say I do need to go just after 11.
Okay, that's fine. So we'll just do. Is it worth doing a quick scene? Should we do something quick or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna be done by like 5-10 past. Actually, 5 past probably is a hard stop.
Okay, then. But let's do something because it's already. All right, cool. Let's do something quickly.
20 minutes or so.
All right. So while then that car just exploded.
Yeah.
You're by your car. You just escaped a bunch of debris. I think you got singed a little bit. So
I did, yeah. And I'm a bit of a mess.
Crappy. Yeah, you're a bit of a mess. What do? Do you try to run get in your car and like catch up to those guys or tail them, or find out what's happening with the explosion, or
Well,
something else entirely? You can just go and do your thing, just whatever.
well, my thinking is if I could stay and talk to people, but because I look like a mess, I don't know how seriously I'll be taken,
That's true.
or if I'll be considered to be one of the hoodlums or whatever.
It's
But
possible.
I'm going to get in the car and tail the people.
Okay, great. So that is a shadowing challenge.
Yep.
And you have 2 dice in shadowing. Okay. And you can't see this, right? The screen hasn't moved through you. I'm checking that you're not seeing.
You're zoomed in. I can see what my abilities are.
Okay, great.
But nothing else is moving.
Okay. All right. So, so you have 2, and a hold is you hold on a 5.
So I roll 2 or just 1?
You just always roll 1 first.
Okay. 3.
3.
Yeah.
Okay, that is not enough to have a hold.
Yep.
So you can roll your other one.
Okay. 6.
So that's a total of 9.
Yeah.
And so, well, basically you hold. So essentially, you follow them through the streets.
Yep.
And you manage to keep up to them.
Yep.
But they realize that you're following them, so they just take a tight swerve, tries to lose you, but you just about manage to keep up.
Okay.
And you finally drive past the 2 guys as they get out at AM Hillier's, the publishing house. And you see them as they reach into their jacket for guns, but like you just dash past. You just saw where they were going.
Okay.
Basically.
AM Hillier's.
Yeah.
Okay.
AM Hillier's is what you have heard to be the, well, if actually that's on a push, sorry. You can Streetwise, wait a minute, Streetwise. So yeah, you had heard rumors that magazine company has become the mob front. And possibly you might have just had confirmation.
Well, it would seem so. If I've managed to follow 2 guys fleeing a scene where a car bomb went off and they've gone back to AM Hillier's, that would be a logical thing for me. But there's a difference between the system and the mob, right? I can't remember what it is.
No, so by mob it was meant generic term.
Right.
The system is the organization in Los Angeles.
Okay.
That Whitey Alexander works for.
Oh yeah, and didn't he tell me someone's trying to make a move. He told me
he did say that, yeah.
Spielman.
What about him?
Isn't he? No, hang on. Franz Spielman's the freelance guy.
Yeah.
Who's the guy? The guy. Yeah, didn't Whitey Alexander told me someone's trying to come in from
the East Coast.
The East Coast. He did say that, although he did. I can't remember the name. He did tell me the name, didn't he?
I'm not sure he did. I can't remember.
Okay. So I'm beginning to think that AM Hillier's is a front for whoever wants to bring down Whitey and take over or intimidate or maybe bring them to the table so they can talk out some deal or something. Mm-hmm. But whatever the hell this has to do with Deacon, I don't know, because they're only going to be interested in making money. Okay. So, I think so the car bomb's gone off. They're going to be police, hopefully. Are they going to be police? For sure. Is my friend Ted Gargan. Now, is he going to be actually going to be able to go there, or has he been reassigned to some boring, crappy job? Because
what do you want? What do you want? Where are you going with this?
I want to speak to him, and I want to find out.
Ted Gargan?
Yeah, I want to find out what he knows about, or what he's heard about all of this stuff.
Okay. There's another element you haven't talked about that you haven't mentioned of what happened in the scene last time.
You mean at the Allegria?
Yeah.
The accountant?
Mm-hmm. Just making sure that you have it in mind as well.
Yeah, the accountant who's well, yeah, the accountant who's big and scary and is like had loads of papers. Phil Block.
It's the middle of the night, and Ted Gargan has the night shift, so you might be able to catch him or organize to meet up with him at the diner where you usually go. That's actually usually meet up at a coffee/convenience store. It's like the ancestor of a 7-Eleven type thing.
And um, what if I go? Okay, yeah, let's meet up there.
Okay.
He's on the night shift. We'll meet at the wherever we meet.
Oh, usually he organized. He doesn't want to see you at the police station. He
That's
already
what I
has enough
thought.
trouble as it is.
That's what I thought. That's what I was about to say. I wouldn't be able to walk in the police. He doesn't see me there. He wants to see me somewhere else. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you give him a call. You manage to organize meeting up a little bit later, and you drive over to the to that sort of diner/convenience store place.
Mm-hmm.
Where there's really just there's a coffee pot that's running in, like, the place is open 24 hours, and there's like little high tables in the back of the convenience store where you can have your coffee and stand kind of thing. It's just
cool.
And yeah, you walk in with your old like cinched and looking a little bit crappy
suit. And what does Ted say to me?
You've had quite the night. What's happening with you?
I have had quite the night. Maybe you've heard what happened at the Allegria.
No, not yet. What's happening?
I was there when a car bomb went off.
Okay.
I followed these two guys who pulled up outside AM Hilliers.
Right.
Have you heard anything about AM Hilliers?
I have. Wait, so I have to check something.
Oh, you're sharing a screen, right?
What?
Actually, no, nothing's changed. All I can see is
I'm reading off of a PDF, but it's not shared.
Yeah, okay, good. Just so you know.
Do you want me to go somewhere else?
No, it's full. That's cool.
Go to Ted Gargan. Sergeant Ted Gargan. Anyway,
a rare, honest man.
The rare, honest man.
Just like the character in The Big Sleep that he goes and speaks to, whose name I can't remember.
Sorry, I don't know where to find this information. Actually, I'm sorry.
Obviously, every time you're changing windows, it screen flashes. Hang on, what's happening?
73.
I'm just trying to work out what I want to ask him. Okay.
Yeah, good. No, my PDF is not showing pages anymore. I need a new computer.
So everybody, you need to donate at least, everybody watching, £10 to Willem's computer fund, because there's so many of you watching. Otherwise, I'm never going to finish this game.
Oh, there you go. Wow, that took a long time. I mean, like, literally just for the text to show up on my PDF as I was scrolling through pages. Wow. I restarted my computer yesterday. Okay, where's the...
You're not one of these people that leaves their computer just permanently on, are you?
Yes, of course.
Oh dear.
It's a Mac. I mean, of course I leave it. I mean, I close it. What do you mean? I never turn it off.
You never shut down?
No, why would I do that?
I do. I turn it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every night.
Yep.
Maybe I should. I don't know. Just they could just go to sleep.
No, I shut it down.
Okay.
And this computer is really old as well. It's still working. Okay. Ted. Are we ready?
Yeah. Wait.
So while you're waiting, I want to see if he knows anything about AM Hilliers. I want to see if anything he knows anything about Whitey and what he's dealing with. And I want him to know about see if he knows anything about Deacon family.
Okay. So sorry, I was just trying to find out to get the hang on Ted, because he's technically not a source. Because actually his abilities and knowledge overlaps yours. So he knows a lot of the same stuff you do, aside from being able to occasionally pull some information from the police. And he's just a friend otherwise.
But he's
well,
in
sort
the
of, you know.
yeah, but he's in the police station. So will he hear stuff in the police station?
Well, he's
or
been
is it
put to
more
the
about
side like big time, but there's another surgeon he can ask.
so it'd be more like I'd be
But
asking him
but
to ask
basically,
for
so
me or look something up for me.
exactly. But yeah, he's like, yeah, AM Hilliers. I mean, I'm kind of kept to the side, but as far as I understand, there's like it's a mob front, and I think that some East Coast guys pulled in and trying to do something.
Okay, so that's confirmed that idea.
Mhm.
Then he would know about what things are being investigated, wouldn't he?
Depends. What are you thinking of?
Well, I'm thinking, is anyone else looking into the Deacon family?
I not like I don't know that there's an open investigation of any kind. I don't think there is actually. And can check in, but no,
Because
not as far as I not
and
as
then
far as you know, not as far as I know.
okay, so I'd be because I've been hired by Margaret Deacon to look
Mhm.
at to investigate what's happened with Helen Deacon, who disappeared and then reappeared 2 weeks later.
Yeah, apparently that was considered as a non-thing, but as far as I understand, the police was hushed by the deacons to not, talk about it.
The police were hushed by the Deacons.
Yeah, requested. Well, the police took her back to their place because they knew
Yeah.
she was a high-end kind of dame, and didn't want the news to find out first. The tabloids.
Yeah, I got it.
So by that I mean I don't know that anybody was actually just given money or bribed for this, but
no,
the
but
police also just didn't consider this to be a case in itself, and they looked
wanted
into it. They did research because that's what, as far as I understand, Helen was asking for. Not Helen, Margaret, sorry.
Margaret was asking for.
But they just quickly closed the case. There's like nothing to be found. I don't know. I don't know who asked them to close the case. I don't know what they actually did. I don't think actually did, investigate thoroughly. I'm not sure.
Would there be anything written up somewhere that you could look at, even if it was case closed?
Probably. I'll have a look.
Could you have a look for me?
Yeah, I don't expect to find anything, to be honest, but yeah, sure.
Right. Okay. All right. I did have a chat with Whitey.
Okay.
And he did say that there was someone from the East Coast trying to move in.
Yeah, it's probably Bugsy Siegel.
Bugsy Siegel.
Yeah, he's the big guy over there. Or somebody that works for him. I don't expect he's there. I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe I don't expect that, but I don't know.
Yeah, Whitey would seem very worried about that. He was a big problem on his plate at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know what else to ask because he's not really a source, is he? He's only just.
Yeah, I mean, what else would you want to ask? He doesn't really know much stuff,
No,
to be honest.
no. Okay, I think.
I can tell you where to find people, but that's about it.
I don't know who else said it was on this. Oh, I did have Bugsy Siegel, and I did have A.M. Hillier. And I did have a name, the top guy from the East, Rod Barron.
Oh yeah, Bud Barron.
Oh, Bud Barron.
Yeah. Bud Barron is yeah, he's from Chicago, I think. He works for Bugsy Siegel.
Has his name come up before? Have you seen him around?
I don't know. Depends what you're asking.
Have you seen him?
No, I
has he
haven't
been
seen
seen?
him. I'm kind of kept to the middle of the night, like fouling stuff away. So, no, I think he's yeah, he's working. He's working here, and I at that place Hillier, I think.
Okay. All right. Thank you as ever. If I
Cool.
think of anything, I'll give you a call.
Yeah. Well, sorry, that was not edifying or super useful necessarily.
No,
but,
it wasn't.
Well, what do you want to do next? Before we just well, we can decide next time, but you know.
Oh yeah, I might have to decide. No, well, I really don't know.
You do have options.
Yeah. What
are your options?
Well, let me ask. What's intriguing me is
Yes.
Maybe actually going to see Helen and
Okay.
actually seeing what she's like.
Okay.
Because what her state of mind is and if she remembers anything and
okay.
all that.
Sure.
I'd like to know if it was drugs or trauma.
Okay.
Now, is she at the Deacon household?
Yeah, you can go see them. You can go talk to Margaret again.
Oh yeah, I could, couldn't I? Oh
Yeah, of
yeah.
course. Yeah, you can. Now they have more information.
Yeah, that's what I'll do next.
Okay, great. Perfect. Very good.
The plot is thickening. Like I'm feeling honestly, I'm feeling like I was feeling when I was watching The Big Sleep. I was like, what is happening here? Who are all these people? Where is it even going? I don't know what's happening. I do want to watch Double Indemnity though.
That's good. You should watch it. It's a good movie. Oh, you wanted to talk about Top Gun, but we'll have to do that some other time.
I did want to. Well, yeah, I did want to talk about Top Gun.
Did you enjoy it?
So I wrote a message on the WhatsApp group.
I did see that. That's what I just remember now.
And then I deleted it. Did you see it before? Yeah.
I saw I didn't see that. I saw that you deleted the message. I didn't see.
Yeah. So because I realized it was almost spoilery. So I thought it was really good, and it was wonderfully predictable.
Yes.
And really good. And then the last kind of 20 minutes, I was like, oh, fucking hell. I was like, oh, come on. So I was getting really into it. And I could not, as I was watching it, I was thinking, that's impossible. Even for a computer, that's not impossible. I used to bullseye one price of my T16 back home, and they're only about 2 meters wide.
Yeah, did you see how they're like the script
even the computer graphics? I was like looking at Davina, she was like, yeah, okay.
Oh, these people have seen Star Wars, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
That was one of the best things. You're Wow, they have like completely shamelessly just ripped off the whole plot.
It's exactly what
And
I
it's
thought.
working. Everybody's liking it. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. She's doing exactly the same fucking thing. It's fantastic.
Well, the Empire doesn't consider small fighters to be a threat. Otherwise, they've had time to defense. Even the guns pointing up at the top,
Yes.
and they fly underneath. Just like fucking hell.
Yes, you could be just attacked for. You could be tried for plagiarism completely the whole way through. Is fantastic. I was like, wow, this is amazing.
The difference is, rather than it being about a hero, it's about the old mentor who's trying to recapture his youth by doing a mission.
Yeah,
It's not about handing anything on, which I thought would have been cooler.
and it's also
But
not.
no.
It's not. It's rather than a small band of rebels. It's about glorifying the U.S. imperialism against
A rogue state.
Not fighting the empire, it's fighting some just poor dudes in the middle of nowhere who somehow managed to have a super secure nuclear facility that you can only just dump in, and you're like, okay, great, sure, yeah, absolutely. But I still thought it was very enjoyable to watch all the fighting scene.
It was. There were a couple of moments where I actually went, whoa.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was enjoyable up until the last chunk. I was like, oh, and that's pretty much what I wrote on the message, and I realized that's too much of a spoiler. I need to delete it, so I'm glad no one had read it.
No, you can't say it because it's just and it's a good thing my brother-in-law didn't tell me that either, but I was like, wow, they've kind of possibly, I think they've seen Star Wars, maybe.
Yeah, but it was more enjoyable than I thought it would be, and like some of it was moving, like
A little bit. The scene with Val Kilmer.
Yeah, that was good, and I did also like Miles Teller. I thought he was good.
Who's he? Is he the young guy?
He played the son. Yeah,
he was good.
And wasn't he in
wasn't something else, I can't remember what.
The drumming one.
Oh, I still haven't seen that. I know it's been on my watch list. I have not. If not with Backlash, no.
Whiplash. Yeah. Oh, it's really good. It's really good.
It's really, really good.
It's very good. Yeah, he's in that. He's in Whiplash. And yeah, that film is great. But yeah, I thought it was good. And then at the end.
I have the little things to give to the people of the jury.
Oh, when is that?
That's on Thursday. I'm
That's
almost
exciting.
finished my presentation. I need to reduce it. I think it's too long for 30 minutes right now. But I did put Inception stuff inside.
It's easier to cut out than add in. So
yeah, but I mean, each one of the sections, they've got 4 big sections talking about clients, and I need to figure out how to cut it out, how to reduce each one of them. I think I need to.
Could you do 2 instead of 4? Could you cut exactly?
No. It's 4. There's 4 blocks of skills. I need to illustrate the 4 blocks of skills.
Okay. So
it's just that I have so much content that it's difficult to. So it's finished, but I probably need to reduce it. I'm going to do I didn't have time to do a practice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to time it, practice, and see how long it takes to do at this point, and then probably have to reduce it a bit. But
yeah. Cool. Well, I hope that goes really well. Let me know how it goes.
You. I will.
I'm very excited to know about if they get all the references.
Yeah.
Just like everyone who watched Maverick, because obviously some of them have never seen Stop. No, come on. Everyone in the audience must have. There was some young guys next to us, and I wasn't sure if they got it. I couldn't tell. They must have. It was just ridiculous.
So ridiculous.
What
are we going to do? We need a really good action thing. I can't believe it. I can't believe they were so blatant about it. It's amazing. All right. Good talking.
Thank you as ever.
Bye. Have a great day.